thank you so much for opening up your schedule for us for the interview.
Pleasure.
All right, so sir, my first question is, your vision and initiative led to the formation of the Mekong Institute in 1996. I mean, looking back on the past 20 years, what in your view are some of the challenges and opportunities unique to the countries in the Greater Mekong sub-region at present?
Well, I think that 20 years gives you confidence looking forward. I mean, it's been a remarkable 20 years. When you think of where it started and working collaboratively with 3 or 4 different countries in a common institute for a common goal, which was, in broad terms, to lift the standard of living, the lifestyle, the opportunities of the people of the region. And in many ways, I think it's done that. I mean, it's concentrated in agriculture. That's a lot of New Zealand's input has been in. But it's really concentrated on how people can work together for a common goal. And when they do that through the auspices of the Institute, I think you see great progress. And I think it's been excellent.
And sir, what can be the role then of the current governments of key ally countries such as New Zealand in addressing these challenges?
By being willing to share knowledge, New Zealand has expertise in many areas, but not in all areas. We can't dictate to anybody. We're a small country. So we can help by offering information, by knowledge, by skills. Training is terribly important in all aspects of a society going forward. The technical aspects, how do you produce water, how do you produce food, how you conserve water, one of the great issues of the world today. How do you manage water adequately so you have a sustainable water supply? But how do you give advice so that structures of government can work as well, work with society, work with community?
Sir, in your professional life as well, you have worked in the government, the private sector, and with non-profits as well. I mean, how do you feel these different experiences in these sectors can work together towards the development of the countries within the Greater Mekong sub-region and possibly like in the Southeast Asian region as well?
Well, your main point there is working together. They see themselves doing things differently, but they really have a common goal. The government has the responsibility over the totality of a country's society. Everybody is part of their responsibility. So government has to take a high-level view and also take a detailed view. It has to do both. Businesses tend to concentrate in the area of expertise or interests or where their profits come from. So they have a different view, and normally it's a narrower view. The NGOs are normally motivated by a passion to change something, to improve something, to help people in some way or another. Now, they are different in terms of approach, but in terms of end goals, they really want the same. And a society gets along much better when they work together, when there is an understanding of the respective roles, rather than just trying to be different. Rather, it's better to cooperate.
Sir, what role do you see then institutions such as the Mekong Institute playing in the region over the next 5 years? And do you see the Institute's core mission evolving with the evolving changes and the needs of the countries within that context?
The mission must change, it must evolve, must keep up, otherwise it will fail. What was top of the agenda 20 years ago will not necessarily be top of the agenda now. I mean, the broad ambition might be to lift the opportunities of the people of this region, but the details will have changed and will move, and that's what the Institute, I think, has been very good at, and that's what it needs to continue to do, to identify where more focus needs to be put, more effort needs to be put in, and then I'm certain we will see the next 5 years as a further step in the progress of the Institute.
And sir, looking at the development portfolio of New Zealand, and we've seen the growth of it over the last couple of decades as well. I mean, currently, in terms of sectoral priorities, what do you think about the state of New Zealand aid, particularly in Asia and the Pacific?
Well, New Zealand has logically concentrated much of its aid in its near neighbours in the Pacific Islands. Many of those are poor and very modest in size, and we provide a range of support there, from education through to renewable energy, just going across in the whole of the area. So that's where the majority of our focus is. After that, we look to our neighbours in Asia. And so it's really an Asia-Pacific focus that we have. I see that continuing. I don't see any New Zealand government in the future changing that focus. Again, it goes back to size and wanting to do what we do well. We cannot pretend we are one of the great economies of the world and can put all the money in that others can. But we can do it as well or better than others because of our small size. And I think our empathy with the people we work with.
All right. And sir, last question. I mean, do you think New Zealand is doing enough on its current development portfolio? And if so, you were saying about the empathy and the size factor of it. I mean, how can you then try to make a model of that for other countries to follow who are trying to develop their own aid portfolio?
Well, whoever is the government in New Zealand will, of course, review annually the size and scale of the development program, and that it always continues to grow. It's just a matter of how fast it grows. And I'm certain that's what will happen in the future. You talk about how do we use what I might describe as a New Zealand way of having empathy with people. I think that comes from our background. We've done a lot of work in recent decades of engaging with our Maori people, our original people, to resolve some of the issues that were created by European settlement. And it's, I think, draws from an honesty of looking at issues, asking the questions about the issues, not trying to dictate, and then trying to suggest what the solutions are, and helping them to implement solutions. I think that's what we all should be doing, not pretending we know everything.
Right.
Inquire carefully as to where the circumstances, what is the history of a particular aspect, what caused whatever the difficulties are in the past. And if you do that, I think you'll find better answers, and you're more in a position to deliver on those answers.